So Tyler and I made a video last summer about the worst fashion faux pas for dads, and of those, of course, socks with sandals are there, cargo shorts, the all gray sweatsuits. So you can check out that video on YouTube and Facebook if you want, but that's just for dads. We wanted to go global and say, what are the worst fashion trends of all time that should never come back? And we got a lot of your guys' opinions, which we'll get to here in a second, but first, Tyler and I's opinions on this, and I went both male and female for this. Did you? Or did you stick to male?
I think I have two that could be considered intergender.
Okay. Yeah, I have a couple of them like that too. All right. So we're going through all throughout time. I did not stick to just the 19th century or the 20th century. So this is going to be interesting. I'll start off with my number 3, and it lived in a time to where we would actually go back in the 60s and 70s. That was platform shoes. Oh. So of course every guy would like to add 5 inches to the top. If he wanted to.
Oh, okay, yeah, that too. Yeah.
But for me, I got weak ankles, and so that's just inviting fate to do something nasty to me. So platform shoes, of course, you would add something to the bottom of the soles of your shoes, everywhere from 4. There were some even 7 inches high. Some of them had living goldfish inside of them.
Sweet.
I just don't get the look. I never have understood it. Austin Powers
but you get the height.
Yeah, you get the height, but the functionality, I guess, makes sense, but the fashion doesn't. Makes you look like a giraffe.
And that usually I can say the opposite for most stuff. The fashion makes sense, but the functionality doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Would you wear platform shoes?
No. I also have weak ankles, right? So I couldn't do that. My number 3, I didn't go farther back like Jones did because I really wanted to talk about things that I've experienced in my life. I'm old enough now, right? So I can say like, man, I hope this never comes back. And in fact, number 3, I can guarantee will never come back. I can't guarantee. I'll put like a 95% possibility that could maybe never come back. And that is the BOOMBOX on the shoulder.
Okay.
I went right out of the gate, fashion accessory, right? And so we all saw it, right? This could be intergender.
I want to hear your reason why you didn't like that.
Well, it's not that I don't like it, it's just never going to come back.
Okay, so something you just never think will happen.
It is kind of annoying, you know, it is kind of annoying. Look, I'm getting old, okay? Kids that play their iPhones and have like a Bluetooth in their pants and walk around, it's too loud. Like I'm like an old crotchety guy. I'm like, turn it down. Like, listen to your music. We have a great technology now. Yeah. That helps with that. So
one thing I never understood about the boombox carrying on your shoulder, it's louder for you than anybody else.
That's right.
So why in the hell would you want to deafen yourself by listening to that boombox?
People like to share their music. That's why everyone blasts their music with the windows down. It's for them kind of, but it's for other people too, and it's an identifier of who you are. But we just won't see it again. And crotchety old man Tyler doesn't want it, so that's it. And I guess I kind of approach this too on like things I just never see happening again, or just hasn't happened yet. Mm-hmm. So my number 2 is I'm gonna categorize this as the flip. Okay, and so the first thing that we won't see, or I hope doesn't come back, is the hat flip.
Oh, flipping up.
Right. So my hat is flipped completely up. Mm-hmm. Right. No. And the thing that goes with that is Dwayne Wayne sunglasses, flipped up.
Oh, okay,
right,
gotcha.
and wearing those. Those could come back maybe at some point, at some time.
So both of those were weird because they did come back. They were in the early '90s, late '80s, early '90s, and they came back in like the 2000s too. So that's kind of interesting. So you don't think they'll ever come back?
They could. They could.
You just don't want to see it.
I don't want to see them. Yeah.
I did kind of like the look if you had a really skin tight hat and flipped it up if you were going to like the beach and stuff.
I think you look like a goofball.
And I actually did have the pair of flip up sunglasses because in baseball I actually had to wear glasses, but I put it on top, and so you flip it up and down.
That's different.
All right, my number 2 is a little bit further back. So I'm talking powdered wigs. They were a fashion trend 15, 1600s,
powdered wigs, that's your answer?
Yes. For 3 centuries this thing came about. Do you know a reason why it started?
Powdered wigs?
Powdered wigs, yeah. What was it covering up?
The history behind it? No, I don't know.
Syphilis.
Oh boy,
yes,
I wouldn't have guessed
STD.
that.
That's the reason why, because all of these rich people were spreading syphilis amongst each other, so they needed something to cover it up, because of course it gave you sores. So they issued powdered wigs. It eventually became a status symbol. You were rich enough to afford one of the wigs, and that's how it spread. So the poor people couldn't afford one. Of course, they had normal hair or went bald like me, but the rich had the powdered wigs.
It was protecting?
Protecting, well, it's covering up the sores that you got from syphilis. So, good history lesson there, but I don't think the powdered wigs will ever come back, even though wigs are still kind of in fashion.
Do they still wear them in like a British court?
It's true.
Because I was watching the mini series Quiz on AMC, which is about people that may or may not have rigged the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire game to win $1 million. Everyone should watch it. It's pretty interesting because it's set in the 90s, late 90s, and they have the court of law in England, and they're wearing the wigs.
I don't know if it is like a parody of what happened in the yesteryear.
I don't think so.
Or it's just...
I think maybe it's tradition, yeah.
They still do it. I hope it never comes back to the United States. So
we don't do it here.
I don't think Americans, because of America. My number one might be your number one, since you're staying with whenever you were alive, and mine is JNCO jeans. So these things, if you're not familiar with JNCO jeans, look like the bottom half of your body was made from curtains, because the thing was so wide. Some of them were 40 inches, 50 inches wide on the bottom of your legs that just appeared you were floating on air. You didn't even actually have legs. They were just, again, covered up by curtains. It was so thick and so massive you could barely walk in them. This thing was popular for about, I would say, 5 or 6 years. After that, it drastically fell off because these things were so heavy. But a very interesting note through my research, I found out what actually JNCO stands for. Judge none, choose one. Makes zero sense at all.
Like choose one pair of jeans?
I don't know.
Their pair of jeans.
It wasn't specific. At least FUBU had 4S bias, which is easily understandable. But
you could... You know the game where your kid holds on to your ankle and you have to walk through the house?
Yeah.
They could fit in the JNCOs.
That's true. Just cover them up
like both in there.
Like a penguin.
You could sneak them into movies at the local movie theater and watch some kids' movies.
Did you ever have some JNCO jeans?
No, I never did. But so since that time we've gotten tighter.
Yeah,
with our jeans.
We went to tight legs.
So to say is it JNCO or JNCO?
Either way, I've heard it pronounced both.
Those jeans could come back if we start going baggy again, until they hit the extreme of that.
Very extreme, yes.
And then they hit the extreme, and then we start going back towards tight again.
Yeah,
it's a pendulum. It's a pendulum. So for mine, my number one fashion trend that I hope never comes back are I would categorize them as the color me bad silk shirts. Uncomfortable, hideous to look at. You can't sweat in them or you're screwed. And I had them like the junior high when I would get nervous if a girl touched my hand. And then from pitting out, they're stuck to me. It's gross. The colors were horrendous. Like no primary colors, just like dark purples, deep blues, baby blues, silvers, grays, all silk, all gross. I just don't want those to come. And I didn't love when I was a youth and I had to wear corduroy pants. I have a feeling those might come back for some reason. The silk shirts I just hope never do.
Did you have short sleeve or long sleeve?
I think I had both.
But both, yeah. I think it evolved to short sleeve. I think it started out as a long sleeve and it evolved to short sleeve. But short sleeve is just like a bowling shirt.
It's horrible.
So it kind of looked like.
I probably wore them both to church.
They were super soft though. I did like that. I like feeling them.
In the junior high, it was a good thing because the ladies would come up and touch you, but then I would sweat, so it was bad.